Slide right up. It's not the one we called up, is it? That'd take a while. And this is how you come down. Well, I hope this thing can hear me all right. Fairly private spot. I'm on the end of this pier, and I'm looking up into the mountains that way. I'll pan over the shore there in a bit, where I think I was kind of semi-lost the other day. It's evening. I think it's 5 something my time, and pretty sweaty. This gym that I go to here, it's open. And it was like 32 or 33 today. It was so brutal in there. There's no getting out of it. You just got to power through and do it. But man, does it ever do a person good? If you're not moving your body, you're not moving your brain. It really helps me keep my shit together between my ears good. But anyway, here to get some voices heard, and I hope the audio in this camera is working out pretty good. There's a few noises in the background. A couple boats. Hustle and bustle of the coast. Now, what do I got to share here? I got a lot to share. When I got my goofy glasses I had to buy at a 7-Eleven here, I brought 3 pairs of readers with me, and I busted them all and lost one. So now I got these babies. They're gonna work. Now, listen to this. So I was sitting here going through my phone, and I have a whole pile of comments from YouTube. They're screenshot and sent to me to save them in my phone. And I realized there's a whole bunch of them, so I thought, what the hell, I'm gonna start reading a bunch of these right now. So, listen to these, all right? Again, these are all comments from the YouTube channel, all right? This is from, who calls himself Delta Echo. Hi, Steve. Speaking of very large sabe, not enough room for the full story here. Nevertheless, while my wife, ex now, were hunting in the Wintas way back when, I had returned to my truck and found signs of one having been present. Not to mention my 20-ounce soda that I left in the tailgate was gone. Anyway, I looked for presence of another vehicle passing and saw none. No one else was in the area and only one way in and out. Anyway, as I scouted around, there were a group of trees next to my truck. Looking up, I noticed 3 clean tree breaks at approximately 4 to 5 inch trunks at approximately 12 to 14 feet up. The breaks were done while we were in the woods. I remember hearing it, thinking, who in the hell is chopping wood this early in the middle of nowhere? The breaks pointed in the direction we had gone into the woods. I remember thinking, either something climbed up those trees to do it, or it must have been very tall and strong. It would have to have been at least 11 foot plus tall. Again, this is a brief synopsis. That really annoyed the shit out of me. It really annoyed the shit out of me though that it took my Pepsi and left a round, clean, flat rock in the middle of my hood. No shit. That's crazy, man. I guess, who knows, maybe that rock's worth something in their world, right? Who knows? That's a little different. Not uncommon either. A lot of people have basically shared the same experience, right? A lot of people get stuff, weird stuff, random things left for them too. I don't get it. But anyway, I gotta get more comfortable here. Oh, that's better. Now I got a backrest. I'm a sore boy. Sore from head to toe, to be honest, but anyway, now I can hang it like this easier. Guess I'd probably mark that as red. Alright, now I can relax and focus better. Listen to this. Here's another short one from the YouTube comments. 2004, Colorado, I was elk hunting in the Weminuche at 12,000 feet, watching a bull about 75 yards away. All the hair stood up on my neck. I turned around and looked up towards the top of Cimarrona Peak and saw a huge hairy arm loft a large rock towards me. I was stunned. I couldn't understand what was happening until I saw another one come down towards me. I immediately left the area and went back to camp. Didn't tell the others, but I slept with my 7mm mag next to me in my sleeping bag. The single most scariest night of my life. All right, you know, one thing we all got to do is stop keeping a secret. Okay, that's the wrong thing to do. The wrong thing to do is to have an experience like that, especially with a group of people and you're still where it went down, and not share it. Okay, or with family members in a rural property, whatever. Got to stop keeping it secret. If it happened, it wasn't your fault. You didn't ask for it. You didn't make it up. It happened. Share it, all right? Let people take from it what they will or leave it, but share it, do the right thing. Now, I don't know if, and I'll get another thing too, is I don't know if that person is still listening to the channel or not, but if you are, did something else happen that night? And if it did, email me. Tell me all about it, all right? But please, please speak openly about it to your partners, all right? At least just tell them what you witnessed and leave it at that. Here's another one, another comment from the YouTube channel. The summer of '95, I worked as an engineering intern for WADNR, one of the senior field foresters I got to work with that summer was tuned into the wild ones. He told me of spotting a trackway from a helicopter. It went several hundred yards across a glacier above Darrington, Washington. The boulder-strewn snowfield was overshadowed by a cliff-faced ridge that was riddled with caves. He said they sat the helicopter down, took pictures, and measured the tracks. He said the tracks were real fresh, 20 inches long, and an amazing 6 to 7 feet apart. The strange part was that the tracks stopped and disappeared in the middle of the glacier. What's up with that? I remember thinking that was really up and strange, and it spooked me because I hero worship this guy. I was already a convinced knower. I was just inexperienced and didn't understand about when things go sideways and get strange. Quote, the more I know, the less I understand all those things I thought I knew. I have to learn again, end quote, Don Henley. He told me if I saw one, don't lock eyes with it. They can cast a spell. You bet, Gandalf. Staring, freezing up in a puddle of pee, or screaming, "What the F is it?" at the top of your lungs. Pisses them off. Use peripheral vision to peek at them and keep your head down, cast at the ground, move slow and talk calmly. If you're really brave, left palm up is a peace sign. It's closest to the heart. He told me he worked with spotted owl, bracket, hooters, and bracket, survey crews for a couple of years, guiding them in and out of old growth timber stands primarily at night. Well, isn't that a holy shit character I'd love to talk to, or we'd all love to hear from? And again, if you're still watching the channel and you just heard me read your comment, why don't you see if you can get that guy to crack open some knowledge and share it to you, or even get a hold of me and share it with me so I can share with everybody here. Alright, people like that are valuable. Their knowledge is valuable. We want to hear from them. I want to hear from them. Many of us want to hear from them. Man, it's sticky hot right now. There's another one. This is from the YouTube channel, right? I asked yesterday and got my answer, so here y'all go. In 1977, a friend of mine and I decided to leave the small town in which we lived in, Illinois, and go to Evergreen, Colorado. A friend of ours' parents owned the cabin 6 miles west of Evergreen up in the mountains near Mount Evans. We got there at the beginning of September and we had to take showers down at the YMCA in Evergreen, and we also found jobs at a bar restaurant in Evergreen. We worked evenings and closed, so we did all the cleanup and everything that needs to be done, and then we leave around 1:30 in the morning. This is around September 22nd, 1977. At about 2 in the morning, we're driving back to the cabin in his 67 Chevy Impala. It's kind of a curvy, windy road. As we come over a small hill, I notice on the passenger side, about 150 feet ahead of us, a big black blob, so to speak. My friend slowed down and we both said bear about the same time. Mind you, we had not seen one bear the whole time we'd been there so far. As we approached slowly in the car, this creature stood up next to a 4-foot guardrail and just dwarfed anything that we'd ever seen. On my side of the car was a mountain, probably 45 degrees, angled down to the road, and then the 4-foot guardrail. We got about 25 feet from it, and we're both sitting up almost with our heads next to the windshield looking up. As the car lights hit it, it stood up, as I said, and turned, sorry, there's a bunch of typos. As the car lights hit it, it stood up, as I said, and turned, and it almost glided to the center line of the road. We're now about 15 feet from it, and stopped in the car. I opened the car door to get a look at it, and it opened the car. I opened the car door to get a look at it, and it kind of turned its shoulders to the left, and kind of looked over its shoulder, turned back, then stepped to the opposite guardrail on the driver's side, went over the guardrail down a 50-degree incline to a stream that I would say was about 75 yards across, and then up another mountain into some aspens and evergreen trees. Boat going by. We both actually heard it slide down the hill to the stream and hit the water, and watched as it glided. I don't remember if it ran or glided. It moved so fast that I think it glided. Several things I remember that have come back to me was the shiny fur, black shiny hair. Second thing I remember was I wasn't scared, that I was amazed because I didn't know what it was. I was scared later on after we talked and thought about it, but never felt scared. My friend was. I think what we had done is just startled it, and it didn't want to be seen and just was gone. The whole experience lasted maybe 20 to 30 seconds at most. Missing punctuation, sorry you guys. And for the 45 years I had thought of it, and always questioned did I really see it, I know now that I did see it and what I saw was real. I guess as I've gotten older, I've dug deep into my past experience that have happened, and I've always stayed away from this. I never talked about it. Nobody likes ridicule. Nobody likes to be called crazy, and I wasn't going to be. At the time, I had no clue what I wanted to do or where I wanted to be alive, or where I wanted to be, live day to day. I left Colorado 10 days later and joined the Navy. My friend to this day will not speak about it if I bring it up. When we talk on the phone, he now lives in Texas and will not talk about it. And that's fine. That's fine. Nur mu timo leva lectonad 2 Nerabably 150 fine. That's what I said. I read it. Over my time, I've listened to probably 150 accounts of seeing Bigfoot, and that's what I saw too. He was 7.5 feet tall, broad shoulders, and conical head, but the shininess of the fur is what sticks out to me. I never got a good look at the face. It happened too fast. So there's my experience, and I thank you all. I appreciate the comments and the kind words from everyone. Bless you, Steve, for what you do, and to all the rest of you, thank you for the support. I've talked at length to Wes Germer at SQ and his own encounter, which was a doozy. All right, there you go, man. Thanks for that share. And hopefully, maybe, possibly, you will forward this video to your buddy. And we don't need him to talk about it, but it would be good to give him some sort of relief or understanding that he's not alone, that there's actually hundreds of thousands of us right here with him, all right? All right, here's another one from the comment section on the channel. 4 of us saw a predator camo-type portal or being move or walk across the Chehalis Lake Forest Service Road a few years back. I'd say 10 minutes or so up behind the Sasquatch Inn. Heading back home, we came around a sharp bend in the road, and my wife sitting next to me, my aunt and my daughter all saw it pass 10 or so feet in front of my now stopped 4x4. It was surrounded in a slight mist or fog, but we saw it standing to the right of the forestry road. We came out of the corner, slow, or we would never have seen it. Probably would have passed it off as a blur, a patch of fog, but we all saw it at once, which made me hit the brakes. 2 seconds after we stopped, it moved across the road. It actually stopped in the middle for a moment, then off to the side. I got out for a moment to get a good look at it, using my door as a shield. Now I got a jet taking off. Can't win. Hold on a minute. It actually stopped in the middle for a moment, then off to the side. I got out for a moment to get a look at it, using my door as a shield. I swear to God that whatever that blur and mist was, it was alive and nothing I've ever seen before. It stood there as we left. We had just passed an active logging site and remembered we had a logging truck coming up behind us, not a place to be parked, so I'd say this all took less than a few minutes, if that. We were all stunned and confused to what we saw, but all described the same thing. It looked like the movie Predator Effect. It's about the size of a sheet of 4x8 plywood, no definitive body or face, just a huge mass. We all stated we could not focus on any particular part of it. It's hard to explain. Eyes can't focus, brain is confused, bad decision to get out of the 4x4. We were all stunned and dazed for an hour or so after too. So yeah, it looked like a portal, but seemed to be very aware that we were aware, and how it moved across the road and stopped by the side as to let us pass. There was no way I was going to drive through it. Not about to add 4 people and a FJ Cruiser to the missing list. All this with logging truck coming up behind us around a blind corner. My aunt and wife both later said they felt something odd was going to happen that day. No sounds of wind or birds or anything the entire day out. It was dead quiet, and we all made a note of that, especially my aunt. She had the creeps the second we went up and the entire time. There you go. Another flavored experience. It's been experienced how many times now? How many times are we going to have to hear those details until you start taking it seriously? Right? I mean, I'll admit, I don't know how many years ago I probably would have went, oh yeah, what kind of drugs are you on, dude? But not anymore. Not anymore. I listen to the people now. Every word the people say, I listen. I'm a sponge. I'm glad, whoever you are, I'm glad you shared that publicly. Good for you, man. Good for you. Alright, what's this one? I think we're back to emails now. This is titled Rock Smacking. Please don't share my name. I live in Oregon, and this occurred in the Coast Mountains. I left work early to go up to a little gravel pit where shooting was allowed, to do a little planking with my .22 pistol before going home. This gravel pit is surrounded by a motorcycle staging area, so lots of motorcycle trails in the area. When I arrived, I was surprised that no one else was in the area. I found there happened to be a lot of brass, so I spent the quiet time picking up brass. I never did get any shooting done as it was so peaceful, and I kept seeing gold nuggets in the form of brass that needed added to my collection. Eventually I needed to start heading toward home. As I was leaving my truck, I saw a pull-off next to a small bridge with a motorcycle trail. I pulled over and decided to hike it a short way, as it followed the stream in a low boggy area. I'd only hiked a couple hundred yards when it started to go away from the creek. At about 75 yards from the creek, there was an open area that would allow me to circle back to the creek and peek over the low bog area. The trail so far had trees and brush keeping me from seeing down in. I turned off the trail and only gone a few yards when a loud smacking of rocks 5 times happened. It stopped me dead in my tracks. It sounded like rocks the size of a person's head being smacked together. I stood there for a second in disbelief, then I decided I didn't know what was going on and began to dismiss it and started toward the creek again. I'd gone about half the distance when again the rocks were smacked together 3 times. For some reason they seemed more aggressive this time and again stopped me in my tracks. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but was now a bit scared and cautious, while at the same time talking myself out of what I heard. I tried to sneak a little closer, being very quiet, only to have the rocks smacking again 3 or 4 times. It scared the crap out of me, and I immediately made my way back to the trail. Now I had to follow the trail back closer to the creek to get back to my truck. I did, and I got the heck out of there. That was the most unsettling thing to happen to me in the woods, and I've spent a lot of time in the woods. Just to be clear, these were large rocks being smacked together in an aggressive way, and only while I was trying to get to the creek. They were directed at me, Mike. No doubt they were Mike, not a doubt in my mind. They did to you what we've done approaching rivers to make sure if there's bears ahead, they're gonna hear us coming. Make a noise, right? Make a noise, let you know I'm here, and you might want to leave. It's unnerving though, right? It's unnerving hearing that shit when you know it's directed at you. And I've experienced the same, but not rocks. It was maybe wood on wood, or a noise they just make, right? Now, this one, I believe I've read this one. Oh, here's something real short. No subject. With all the trail cams out in the woods, you would think we would see so-called Bigfoots. Yeah, that's only if you think that today's human technology is absolute the best thing on the planet, which it isn't. And these things outclass us in more ways than we can wrap our brain around. So, just because a man-made trail camera can't do it doesn't mean shit. Right? And we got a lot of explanations for that actually in past videos. Don't know who that sent that in, but they did and I read it. Roundtable talk and experiences. Resending this email because I don't know if you received this, so I'm resending. People need to know. Thank you. Gotcha. Dear Steve, permission to share. It's a strange thing you mentioned about me and my buddy on the quad a few days ago when you recorded at your house as I was preparing this email. Oh no shit, I wonder if you're the guy who got the quad flipped forward. I've had several other encounters with these beings since that quad incident happened, along with my wife and son over the years. I'm attaching a short video clip from early June this year. I normally don't send videos or pictures. I also know you don't usually share video and pictures, but this one you may find interesting. I was recording on my GoPro outings in the woods to the future kids for education or anyone interested in track crafting and just basic things in nature. On this hike with my shepherds on private property, I'm sending you this shortened clip to save time for you and the viewers if you decide to share. I heard a violent sound of a tree being pushed over, and note, there is no wind. a very slight breeze. I've had anomalies in this area before. I did have my 2 trained shepherds and my firearm, which I always have for protection. I just want to note that it is legal where I live, which you will see in the video. In this area, I have an electronic failure on the GoPro and other electronic equipment in the past. Note, not every time of an incident. Now, to this incident, you will hear loud popping that gets my attention and the shepherds from a tree falling. I went to investigate, which I don't advise everyone to do, but felt that I was equipped and entitled for being on my own property. My personal notes over the years of track crafting, I've seen an influx of these entities. My questions to you and the viewers: is it just me, or are there more anomalies happening now in the world and with people than in the past? Is it just more periodically? I've noticed more mimicry of owls, crow, and woodpecker sounds. I know that periodically my shepherds do catch a scent in certain areas, and I do find faint signs. Example, foot depressions in the leaves that are not typical of local wildlife. Rarely have a visual glimpse of the unexplained. They cloak so well, especially in heavy foliage, than in the winter months. It seems that I can get closer, or they get closer to me due to foliage, yet I don't feel a direct threat from the sabe. Yes, more than one sabe, but I do from outside sabes, and my wife does also. She's very self-aware and knowledgeable of these creatures. She's heard them while working in the garden. We both speak to them and let them know when we sense them we mean no harm. We are coexisting in our overlapping realm. Now for the dogman, I have concluded that the sabe and the dogman are at battle with each other because we've heard them fight in a hell of a ruckus in our area. Well, that sounds interesting, especially to know that it was a dogman and a Sasquatch fighting, just from sound. I'm not being a dick, that's just what comes to my brain right off the bat. It seems to me and my wife that it's a territorial dispute. We do have chickens that get taken from the roost, even with a shepherd close by the coop, and no, the shepherd doesn't harm the chickens. None of the shepherds have been harmed yet, but they do cower down at times. I will note, I don't investigate at night unless it's directly around the house. I hope this video helps someone. I'm a person that loves the woods and is not going to be stopped by a beast or a man, especially on my property. I do have a lot of knowledge that I have learned from over the years, and Steve, I've picked up so much knowledge from you and the viewers. I'm still learning. I'm with you about what are they afraid of. I also agree with you 100%. If they wanted to take me or my dogs out, they could in a nanosecond. But gonna give hell of a fight if I can. Because I'm gonna live as a free man as well, all should. If you're ever in North Georgia, you're more than welcome to a good southern home-cooked meal or catch a largemouth bass or a whitetail buck. Come on down. Hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, post. I hope the viewers learn something from me, because I have learned from them. If there are any questions, feel free to contact me. Keep up the good work and hope your move goes smoothly. David Espy, Till Valhalla. P.S. I don't have fancy editing software. I just shortened the video clip for you. Hope you got it. Hope you get it attached. And usually it shows it attached in the email when I copy it. It's not shown here, so I have a funny feeling that we don't have it, but I'll look once I get back into the inbox and I'll try to see if I can dig it up. All right, you guys. Now, thanks for sending that, man. And also, I'd like to know how you thought that it was a dog man and a Sasquatch having a fight. That's curious to me. This tunnel sabe. It's very short. My wife had an experience with one throwing a soccer ball-sized rock from behind her while her brother, sister, and herself were fishing on the Clarion River in Elk County in Pennsylvania. End of email. And that's probably going to help somebody or knee-jerk them into sharing what they experienced there too, man, all right? So thanks for sending that in. This little bird keeps poking out from the hole over here. It looks like a little mini stork or something. I'm going to show it to you guys in a minute. I'm going to sneak my camera at him. Here comes another one. It's endless, you guys. It's frickin' endless. Retired LEO. That's law enforcement officer. Hi, Steve. I'm Vic. Appreciate your channel. Thank you. Steve, I'm a retired 20-year of service New York City corrections officer as of 2020. My experiences consisted of responding to riots, fires, escapes, transporting prisoners to courts, and 2, upstate New York City New York State prisons. Part of our training involves situation awareness, being aware of your surroundings, and paying attention to your gut feelings. Pretty much being suspicious of everything, LOL. A couple of times while hunting in the Sterling Forest in Tuxedo Park in upstate New York. I've had 2 occurrences that left me stumped. First occurrence, I was hiking into the forest at midnight, 12 a.m. to my hunting spot 6 miles away. But 200 yards into my hike, I had a tremendous amount of paralyzing panic attack fear run through my entire body. After it dissipated 15 seconds later, I heard something heavy, bipedal ahead of me, crunching dry leaves while walking away. I turned back and left. Another time while in my tree stand at 7:35 a.m., I saw a human figure, fog, floating down a hiking trail. And 20 feet behind it was a translucent electrical human figure floating down the trail, following the fog and turning at every turn on the trail. Again, I left the opposite direction, never to return. Steve, what did I see? And why did I feel that paralyzing fear? Steve, I appreciate what you do, and Dave Politis do. Stay well. Many blessings to you and Sarah, and thank you. Dude, if I could only have the solid answers for you. But coincidentally, we just had, a couple other similar flavored emails in today's video too, right? These beings can do some crazy shit. There's no denying it. There's absolutely no denying it. Who's got the answers? I don't know. Somebody does. Somebody does. We'll get them. As long as we don't quit, right? We'll get the answers, man. What a crazy ass thing to experience. You be safe out there, man, and don't quit hunting. All right? Don't quit. We don't like quitters. What's this? This is titled Red. Now. Smithsonian answer, giants are real. It's the title of this email. Hey Steve, I've written before with Bigfoot's home at Lake Tahoe. I believe I have your answers for the Smithsonian and lost bones. See, I've been investigating connection of the giants to Bigfoot / Sasquatch / the big guy. Timothy Alberino discovered not just giant skulls and bones, but elongated or large skulls, not quite human, but not an ape, more like a Neanderthal. So we know these giants of old were there. That's in Peru and Italy. So here in the States, I traced them back to American Indians and their petroglyphs. Pictures of giants they've seen, some dated thousands of years, some hundreds of years. Even as giants in Mexico, to America, same pictures but drawn by different cultures. But beside them is always swirls or round swirls, which would be your portals in the sky and on the ground. Okay, so these bones have been found all over the U.S. in mounds, Indiana, Missouri, even out to the Grand Canyon, but always confiscated by the Smithsonian. There's old news articles to prove this. Back to Timothy Alberino, with La Marzulli, discovered Smithsonian destroyed thousands of the giant bone skulls, some 25 feet tall. Why did they do it? No one knows. Okay, so let me tell you about these giants. That's my opinion in my research. Let's go back to biblical. Quote, there were giants in those days before and after the flood, end quote. Right? Okay. The Dead Sea Scrolls show a culture of giants that were peaceful. There's bits and pieces of this manuscript, but enough to prove they were peaceful. Over the years, the petroglyphs show pictures of giants hiding deep in the hard-to-reach places. I bet if you look there, Canada and Alaska, you'd find these petroglyphs. If the past generations are true, most natives won't lie. They survived, but as a hairy man, the giants of old did have hair. We see they survive today with athletes 7 feet tall. But your Sasquatch is, in my opinion, is these men of old. The giants of this generation. Okay, so why do they disappear or no bones or bodies? Well, if they're of these giants, they're Nephilim, the fallen angels. See, they have power to mingle with us and animals. They are changelings or set creatures to roam the heavens. Okay, the heavens are not heaven of God. When casted down, they were given reign over the space, sky, earth, and below the heavens. Understand? It's kind of a few typos here, buddy, but I'll get through it. Okay, so it's why people think of aliens. Aliens to demons to Bigfoot. Why do some attack? I don't know why, because of the peaceful race of giants, and these swirls are the portals they travel by. Steve, I do believe some are stuck here. I don't know why, but I'd really like to discuss this more with you. I know they come by portals. These portals are seen and felt all over the U.S., even Skinwalker Ranch. Crazy? I don't think so, because the Native Americans have told of giant ones for hundreds of years. Sorry that Smithsonian destroys history. I still don't know why they did it, but I guarantee that what your viewers and those that write in are seeing are real beings. Generation of the giants of old. I hope this helps, and I'll left my number below. Love to tell you more. This was just a short brief of what I've discovered. Thanks for what you do. Eli Holder. All right, man. Appreciate it. A couple typos there made me kind of read a little awkward, but no big deal. But there you go. Take from it will you will or leave it, right? One thing we can all agree on, I'm quite certain, is the fact of portals. Right? You can't deny that shit. Not now. No way. Why does the Smithsonian destroy the evidence? Because if we knew the truth, the whole corral of control would fall apart. That's why. That is why. Now, what else do we got? I gotta get going. The sun's almost down. It's been kind of challenging reading here. There's a lot of noise. I hate the background noise. People walking around and shit. They probably think I'm crazy. And here comes this little bird again. I'm gonna see if I can't catch him. He keeps on staring at me. Oh, there he goes. I don't know if I caught that or not. I guess we'll find out in a bit, won't we? Oops. Alright, I hope you guys can hear this, because all I'm hearing is noise. Hi Steve, just watching your video. This is it, and it's loaded. Sorry, not so good at this email stuff. I have a story for you. I was 22 and I went camping up on the top of Pink Mountain, BC by myself. I camped what is called the Horseshoe. I camped here because it was a place where the wind would rip through it every 5 seconds, almost like a jet, where I could sleep in peace because bears did not bother me here. Too much noise, so around 2 or 3 in the morning I was woken up because of crashing coming up from the front of my tent. I had a 22 M16 with me, so I yelled, "If you don't stop, I'm coming out shooting." This went on for about 20 minutes and I had enough. So I went outside and there was nothing there. Oh, sorry, but I forgot to tell you that all around my tent I had put 6 to 8 big rocks to hold my tent down. I went outside, there were only the pegs holding my tent down and all the rocks were gone. I never slept the rest of the night. No doubt. No doubt. In the morning, the only thing I found was the rocks were all stacked in a big pile, but all around this was big tracks I've never ever seen before. Big feet, and I mean big feet. Went home, tried to explain this to my friends, and they just said, yeah, whatever. But I have a native friend, and he said, oh, you probably just ran into Bigfoot. Now I'm 59, I can honestly tell you there are things out in the wilds that we really don't know about. Weird thing is, my friend said, you must have native blood in you because they never attack natives. So I talked to my family and found out that I am a quarter Cree. Wow, I never knew this. Well, anyways, there's a story of what happened to me. Love your videos and channel. Blessed New Year, and God bless William Vipond. Vipond. Hope I didn't butcher your last name, William. Pink Mountain, as you probably know, I'm absolutely familiar with that zone. Both sides of the highway and past and before. And I have a lot of friends who've seen some crazy shit to the west of there in the middle of nowhere on horseback 2 days in. Woke up to trees getting bashed. Then there's actually a Sasquatch effigy cutout sculpture right there in Pink Mountain at the coffee shop, as you probably know, and most of you people from BC listening know as well, on Alaska Highway. It's definitely one of the numerous hotbeds in BC for action, right? It's non-stop. What a shitty thing to do. Take your rocks away from your tent. That wasn't very nice. Alright, here's one more, and then I think I'm going to get out of here. This is titled, Question for the People. Steve, as a fellow member of the Club of No Return, I have a question for you and all the other members. I've watched all your videos, and I've noticed that many people have said they went outside for a cigarette or pulled over from driving a car to have a cigarette, and they have an experience with the Sabe. As we all know, First Nations also say they leave tobacco as a gift for Sabe. As a whole, smokers are not a large part of our population. So my question to you and the people is, why does such a small percentage of the population who smokes cigarettes have so many sightings? Perhaps someone could have an answer. It just seems strange to me that such a small group of the population would have so many encounters with these beings. All the best to you and Sarah on your vacation. Safe travels. One last thing, keep up with your so-called rants. It's like you're reading my mind word for word. Your fellow brother from Vancouver Island, Daryl Stevenson. Yeah, I don't know, Daryl, you know what, man? The reason is, I would have guessed right away, is because when people stop to have a smoke, they're usually by themselves looking for peace and quiet, right? And they go off alone, sneak up behind the barn, the house at nighttime, right? Go on the deck, get away from everybody and sit there and be quiet. And that's typically what a factor that is contributes to having an experience. But then again, think about it, man. How many people have pulled over to go pee in the middle of nowhere on the highway and they have an experience? It's the same deal. Pull over, you go to find somewhere secluded by yourself, boom. The misfortune of being pulled over at the wrong place at the wrong time, right? Do I think it has something to do with tobacco and these beings? Not myself, but I don't know. Who knows? I haven't a clue. Maybe. I don't know. It's a good question though, right? But I have a feeling it is, I would guess. Just because people go off to have a smoke in private time by themselves and stay quiet and they don't move or they're in the shadows or whatever. So, who knows, man? You're paying attention though, aren't you? You're digging. You're looking at the fine details. Alright, here's another one. Short one more. My friend and I were working in PA Mountains. One night he came back to the hotel all panicked. We asked him what happened, and he said that he was going through a turn and a big thing smacked his truck windshield. We asked him what he did. He said that he stopped, looked in the mirror, and saw a huge figure standing on the side of the road. I asked if he reversed, and he said, no, the thing was big. My boy is 6'4", 250 pounds of muscles. There is shit living in the woods that we don't know. By the way, PA mountains are dark and isolated for those that don't know. And no story. And no name. Alright, man, thanks for that email. Lucky that windshield didn't cave in, right? Lucky it didn't cave in. Alright, let's do one more. I got another one here. Marked as red. Northwestern Pennsylvania experience. Dear Steve, my name is Andy. I'd like to know if my experience puts me in the club. This happened to me back in the 80s. I was staying with my grandparents. They own 23 acres in Grand Valley, PA, just on the edge of the Allegheny National Forest. I was around 12 to 13 years old at the time, and I had noticed that there was a fly fishing only area on the creek just a quarter mile down the road from their house. I stayed at my grandparents' house many times. But this time, when I went out to stay, I brought my fly fishing rod. I was so excited to go fly fishing in the fly fishing only area because I was thinking those wild trout would be huge and aggressive. So around 1 p.m. I told my grandparents I was going to go fishing and head out to the creek. When I got there, I read the sign and it was also a catch and release. So I went down and started fishing. Tossing a few times my brown nymph fly, having a little action but no hard hits. So I changed my fly to a bit brighter color. I was thinking because of the dark canopy over me might be a problem. I cast my fly out and wham! Got my first nice native trout fighting me all the way. It's a nice 13 to 14 inches. Let her go and continued fishing. Caught a few smaller ones and released. Then all of a sudden, it was deathly quiet. It was around 5 p.m. and eerie as hell. I felt like eyes were on me from everywhere. I gathered my fishing tackle and beelined it. Out the path and to the road and never looked back. Steve, I felt like they followed me all the way back to the house. I was so freaked out until I got into the house. To this day, I've never felt like that, and I hope I never, and I have never went back there again. And I've never fished again. I've never told anyone about this before, but after seeing your show, it was time to tell someone. Thank you, Steve. Just use my first name, Andy. Okay, I got you, man. I got you with the... It's in the... I'm going to share, at least to share the people that was in the Allegheny National Forest, okay, man? Well, thanks for sending that, sharing with me where it was. Not that it's going to do me any good or anybody any good keeping a secret, but... It's unfortunate that it screwed you out of your fishing experience for the rest of your life, right? But you'd believe how many people I've heard the same reaction from, and that's why I'm here. Pisses me off when I hear of people like you and others who have their passions absolutely stolen from them because they weren't pre-educated on what the hell's going on out there. That's bullshit. Anyway. Alright, so that's enough of that, and I was going to touch base on, yeah, I've been a little low-key on the rants, haven't I? I just haven't had time to really get into it. But I'll tell you what, when people comment the other time, or email me and complain and say, I don't get to come here to listen to politics, I'll tell you what, one thing I can tell all of those people with that mindset is, if you're a bad guy today in North America or the rest of the world, the Western collective governments, more or less, if you're a bad guy and you hear one of the people, or a lot of people saying, I don't want to hear about politics, they're giggling all the way to the bank, right? They're giggling all the way to the bank. They can't hear more beautiful words to their ears than some human being who they're screwing over saying, I don't want to talk about it, right? The horse shit that's going on today is all our fault, and especially those who say, I don't want to talk about it. You're pussies. And it's your fault why things are the way they are today, and it's my fault too, because we haven't done shit. We've kept our mouth shut. And it's wrong, right? Anyways, I'll leave that at that right now. What I will share is, I'm going to share with you guys 2 videos, okay? I'm going to share 2 videos in the comment, or not in the comment, in the video description. I'm going to share 2 videos. And I'm going to challenge you guys to watch them both. Okay? Just listen to them. Just for shits and giggles, listen to them. And once you listen to them, tell me how much you don't want to hear about it, how much you don't care. And then, if you don't want to hear about it, you want to comment about it, ask yourself why and how all of this shit has happened. Okay? And then after you watch those, and you're done, for shits and giggles, go look at the price of silver and gold today. Alright, we'll leave it at that. Now, for all of you that have had a shitty experience and you got nowhere to talk about it, make sure you email it to me at sharemystory@howtohunt.com, and I will get it shared with the whole planet. Alright? It's important that you speak and get it off your chest. Okay? Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to go get some food. Let's go get this slapped on the internet, get a good night's sleep, and get up tomorrow and go get the shit beat out of me again. Talk to you guys shortly.
Thank you.